Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday, the 9th of May. So looking at the euro dollar first, and well, as you can see, yesterday we put this bearish engulfing candle in after Macron's now voted in. That's taken the pressure off, but also, well, it's also back to normal really in politics, and more voting's got to be done, and got to get a whole new parliament together. So that will be fun. But whilst that's happening, looking at this euro dollar, I mean, there's divergence from the highs here to pushing up through. There was the divergence sort of sitting through. Yes, there's some sort of wiggly old stuff in between on the RSI there, but whatever, it just didn't have the strength showing with the RSI as we broke here. So there's certainly a divergence now. How far that will go, we'll have to wait and see, but maybe a break of this near-term trend line will give it the green light down to the daily 21, and then it's sort of a case of, well, there's a monthly pivot sitting below the 200 still facing south here. Interesting point, the daily 200 still facing and still sliding downwards, which may not provide too much support beyond that 21. We've got the monthly pivot 34, and then of course the gap fill 50, the regression channel trend line there, the mean from way through since 2017, which well could be hit. So there's a sort of target wise. If it starts rolling through, of course, it could find some support and turn around completely. But at the moment, I'm erring more obviously towards the bearish side. So the key things to looking out for intraday today would be obviously the trend line that's running across these near-term lows to see if it starts breaking through there. Opportunities to enter maybe on retracements, of course, and we may see one early-ish this morning. Now coming down to the 60-minute chart, I've got the daily pivots on here. You can see we've got an untouched daily pivot above. There is always the possibility of it running back towards that at some point. It's not a foregone conclusion that we're going to go and fill a gap here, but it certainly looks a bit better than it had done. Now, the alternative, as I say, any retracements could be sold, looking for perhaps bigger moves to the downside. The easier route at the moment is to the downside. How often do I sit here in the morning talking through the market, and then we get a complete reversal? Selling off last week there, we'd been looking at that, looking at the lower highs. I was looking to the downside, maybe a bit of a different ball game at the moment, but certainly we can get these reversals. So we need to tread carefully. Okay, looking at the pound dollar, and well, the pound is being robust. I keep on saying it. We have got divergence on a daily basis between the two highs that were put in. In fact, yesterday we managed to peep a little bit higher. It's put a bit of a move down, but it's, as I say, much more robust than the euro on this move at the moment. Could open the way of trading the euro pound even. Looking at this short term, well, it's a bit of a consolidation phase. It's quite tight on this 4-hourly chart. We're just bouncing off that weekly pivot. It's just come back to the 60. It's easier to see. So the lower high in here, actually, was it marginally lower high? Yep. Testing off that weekly pivot. Now it really depends on how markets move from here, but even the pound could be setting up for a bit of downside, although the longer it consolidates here, the more likely I believe it will break this 34 and push back up towards maybe yesterday's highs. So the pound may be, as I say, hold up much better. Dollar yen. Well, the dollar yen just gave up yesterday. It was pulling back, heading down towards the weekly pivot, and well, the rest is history. It just gave up. The 8 o'clock pivot bar you can see there, and since then we've pushed around. There we go. So it's coming down. That 4-hourly 4-hourly bar, reversal on the hourlies there into the daily pivot. Lots of support around that daily pivot. Wasn't really making it for that. It looks so close to the monthly reversal, and then off it's gone. Now that's more in line with the euro in terms of how we would expect it to be running effectively. From here, well, untouched daily pivot below, always a chance of, well, if you start seeing a break, there's a nearer to, or probably a safer trend line running across the two lows here. We'll be running across there. So there's an opportunity maybe looking from that sort of point of, or at least a confirmation of probably a weaker move. But at the moment it's looking quite strong in what we're looking at. The RSI is pretty powerful and strong as we're pushing up here, and perhaps retracements may be buy opportunities to for continuation to the upside. Aussie dollar, Aussie the weaker one, another weak one in the pack. I say another one because the Canadian dollar is relatively weak, and despite it holding up there last week and running into this week, it never really managed to have the oomph to even run towards its weekly pivot this week, and it's at the moment it's rolled over on some really poor retail sales, missing by 0.4, quite a significant miss there. Showing that despite the brave talk and the house prices pushing up, the economy itself may not be quite so strong. Okay, so classic sort of price action. What we're seeing here, there was a sort of move. It actually ended up that curling move that looks like, well, it might have run up towards the weekly pivot. It just gave way into sort of a really quite a bearish flag, and off we went. From where we're sitting at the moment, we're already down. We're sitting down there on a weekly pivot at the moment, and that may just hold on there. So weekly S1 just as it's sitting on the moment may hold for now. Already touched the daily pivot, daily S1. It's little for me to be trying to trade off this. Okay, that's pretty much Aussie dollar. Let's have a look at the Canadian dollar. So Canadian dollar, well, it's got the bullish harami from yesterday, really. Potential still here for some upside. Now, we extremed on the highs there on that bar there. There's always a chance we get probably up to the neck there, neckline at 37.49, but maybe more. Again, it's one of the economies that's sitting there, it's struggling. Oil prices are not really doing it too much favor at $46. And as other factors with pressure on from the US, we could see this running up back towards that weekly R1 and maybe back to last week's high. So there's certainly the possibility there of, to say, a bit of a shove up. Any signs of any failure, though? Well, it may look a bit better, but just looking at this price action here, it's very bitty. It's through the Asian session, barely moved for hours in a very, very tight range, broken out this morning, erring more possibly upside than anything else. We've seen these spiky moves through yesterday, just didn't have the legs. It's a lot of selling coming in to the highs here through the sort of later part of yesterday. Be interesting if we get a move sort of late morning today, whether it'll push up towards those highs, the R1 sort of zone, and maybe more. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. As I say, the weak ones, well, the weaker currencies are the Canadian dollar, the Aussie dollar at the moment. Fundamentally, the euro, I believe, has still got some possible adjustment to come into play before it may just continue its original gradual upward route. Okay, that's it for me. Have a great one. Bye for now.